along with their active community. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you,
That's all
Gayan,
for
for the sharing your findings with the others on SUSE Linux distribution. Just to confirm what Gayan mentioned about this particular distribution is quite popular in enterprise-wide use. And for the support also, this is supported with Linux. There's a SUSE Linux Enterprise, which will support the enterprise users as well. Okay, so with that said, let's move to group number 4. So group number 4, we have elementary OS, and then we have group numbers 10, 21, 140, and 133.
Yes, doctor. Shall I share my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. Elementary operating system is given topic for us. Key features and benefits. Pentium desktop environment, which provides a clean and intuitive user experience. Pentium features a top panel and application menu. System indicators are there, and uh, dock for quick access to favorite applications. And then the another feature is App Center, a curated software store where users can discover and install applications. The application center focus on providing high quality native applications that integrate seamlessly with the desktop environment. Third one, performance and stability. It is based on Ubuntu LTS, long-term support releases, which provide a solid foundation with long-term support and stability updates. Privacy and security. Elementary operating system prioritizes user privacy and security. It includes features like built-in parent controls and regular security updates to keep the system secure. Developer friendly. It's popular among developers for its simplicity and flexibility. It includes developer friendly tools and documentation, making it easy to set up and development environments and build applications. Customization options. User can customize the appearance, install themes, and tweak various settings to personalize their experience. Second one, use cases. Personal computing. We choose elementary operating system for its modern and user-friendly interface, which makes it easy to browse the web, manage emails, create documents, and perform other common tasks. Productivity and creativity. Users can also access Office suites like LibreOffice or install specialized software for creative tasks such as photo editing, graphic design, or video editing from other app center. Media consumption. User can also access streaming services, podcasts, and digital libraries through web browsers or dedicated applications available in the App Center. Development environment. Developers might choose elementary operating system for software development due to its simplicity, performance, and developer-friendly features. Lightweight and older hardware. Users can install elementary operating system on older laptops or desktops to extend their usable lifespan and enjoy modern computing experience without the need for costly hardware upgrades. Third one, community support. Official website and documentation. Users can find installation guides, release notes, and frequently ask questions to help them to get started with operating system. Community forums. The forums are actively moderated, ensuring a supportive and constructive environment for users to interact. GitHub repository. Users and developers can report bugs, suggest features, and contribute code to the project throughout GitHub issues and pull requests. IRC and metrics channels. Real-time communication channels are available for users to seek help, discuss development. Local user groups and meetups. Sorry. In some areas, local user groups and meetups exist for elementary operating system. Enthusiasts together share experience and collaborate on projects related to the operating system. Absent a development community, this community provides resources, guidelines, and support for app developers. Thank you. That's it. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, thank you very much. Group number 4 about the elementary OS. Just to add something, this one, as correctly mentioned, this is very user-friendly one, which is sometimes proposed as a replacement to Mac operating system because Macs are quite popular for user interface quality. So if you look at the user interfaces developed for elementary OSs are very, based on the Mac operating system, and they were even suggesting as a replacement for Mac OSs, those who, look for better or pleasing desktop environment. And then, as also mentioned, the group number 4, this is also built on top of Ubuntu. So most of the features that we actually discuss about the Ubuntu will also be available for elementary operating system. Thanks. And we have a very interesting distribution comes in with the group number 5. They are going to work on Kali Linux distribution, and group number 5, we have number 3, 31, 209, and 142. It's over to group number 5. We cannot hear you yet.
Okay, can you hear me, please, sir?
Hello, can you hear us?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, it's
Okay.
over to you.
It's over to you. Okay. Good evening, all. We are group number 5. Our topic is Kali Linux. Kali Linux is a specialized Linux distribution designed for digital forensics and penetration testing. Also, Kali Linux is the most popular server system, and it is maintained and funded by Offensive Security Limited, and it comes pre-installed with numerous penetration testing tools and software to add security professionals and accessing and security system. When we talk about the features and benefits of the Kali Linux, is the open source server system, and it provides the penetration testing tools and customization and flexibility is available. And most important focus in security focus design and regular update and maintenance are available in this server system. as well as another Linux system. Linux also have a community supports and accessibility and documentation also provide by the Linux server system. As well as there is different variant in Kali Linux, Kali Linux, Kali Lite, Kali Net Hunter, Kali Linux ARM, Kali Linux Major, Kali Linux Dive, and Kali Linux franchising. Other different variant in Kali Linux service system. Kali Linux servers especially focus and cater to different user requirement and penetration tester, security researchers, forensics analysts. They are likely Kali Linux distributions to their needs. When we focus on the use case for Kali Linux server system, mostly the Kali Linux server system focus on cyber security and information security, and there is there are available tools to penetration testing, vulnerability assessment, and wireless security testing, web application testing, and digital forensics and incident response. When you talk about the community support on this Kali Linux server system, there is strong community support from diverse user base, students, developers, and other parties are supported for the Kali Linux development. This is the open source system, open source software system. So everyone can contribute to the development of the Kali Linux server system. And community actively contribute to forum discussion group and social media platform to share knowledge and provide assistance and exchange idea about the Linux service system. This is our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, group number 4, for the presenting about the Kali Linux. As correctly mentioned, this particular distribution is quite popular within the security professionals, especially they have a lot of supporting tools in the fields of cyber security and information security. Okay, with that, we'll come to our last group number 6. They are going to present on Linux Meet. And we have registration numbers 149, 39, 151, and 56. Presenting Linux Meet. It's over to you, group number 6.
Sir, I'm Nirisha from group number 6. I'm talking about the Linux Mint distribution. Linux Mint is one of the popular desktop Linux distribution used by millions of people. They used to produce a modern, elegant, and comfortable operating system, which you can use both powerful and easy to use. Also, the key features of this Linux Mint is customizability. We can customize desktop environment, install applications, and configure the system settings. Also, this is a user-friendly interface and easy to manage software. We can use install software and easily browse, search, and also there are many features that used for the Linux Mint that it is we can differentiate from using this Linux other Linux distributions. Also, when comparing about the compatibility, we can use many wide range of hardware and software for the Linux Mint. Also about the privacy, they take privacy as serious matter and use several features to protect your data. So it is impossible to disable, impossible to track in and telemetry. Also, use cases of the Linux Mint is we can use it for the everyday computing, browsing, emails, and document editing. Also, used for the document development and system administration. We can also use for the education and multimedia production, video editing, graphic design, and gaming. Also, privacy and security, reviving the old hardware, we can use the Linux Mint. About the community of the Linux Mint, and improvement. Also, official forums like to engage with community members' presence in social media platforms, and they can stay updated about the news. Also, local user groups can meet and share their experiences using this Linux Mint community. When consider about the support system, they have up to 5 years duration support systems when their systems releases. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, group number 6. And as they mentioned, this is focus on easy to use, and as correctly mentioned by the group number 6, they actually optimize for everyday use, which is quite popular for those who want to just install and use as like kind of a Windows machine. Thank you everyone for your time and effort on group 1, and I hope you have enjoyed while understanding different Linux distribution. As you have already seen, we reviewed only 6, but there are many other interesting Linux distributions are available. And even you can have your own Linux distribution. There are some tools available. But I think before that, we should get familiarized if you're not Linux system. So that's the plan for today. So let me continue my rest of the presentation. So let me share my screen. So as you can see in the presentation, there are many. Actually, this is one of the images I found on different rankings. People come up with various measurement to see which one is the best. But irrespective of that, common ones are Linux systems are free and open source, most of the cases, except for a couple of commercial versions. And also, most of them are secure as well. And nowadays, offering you, facilities for, graphical user interfaces where you can work like in Windows. So now going back to my presentation, I think most of you actually listed down various reasons why we should use Linux or distributions or Linux operating systems. Main thing is about the security compared to the number of attacks is reported for Windows-based operating systems. Very less is for Linux, which is one of the key attributes when it comes to server operating systems. Stability and reliability, for example, ideal for the servers because servers will be long-term use. Once you are set up, very rarely you make any changes like in desktop computers. Then third one is the cost, because almost all the Linux distributions are free, and also it allows you to change what is there. It's flexible, meaning highly customizable for various computing needs. So that's why you will see that the Linux can be run starting from single board computers to high performance computers. So that's one of the key reasons why you might consider use of Linux. So having said that, Linux is in the professional world as well, although we talk about the desktops and also in mobile and so. Because nowadays we can talk about Linux, it's dominating in the server market. Almost all the server hosts prefer to have a Linux based system, and it also preferred for cloud computing, which is another area where we should be focusing with servers. When it comes to development also, because there are a lot of powerful tools comes in handy with the flexibility, it is common choice among the development community as well. And even again, commonly used in the enterprise level, which means as organizations rely on Linux because of its reliability and security features. Now, how do you, start with Linux? I hope many of you might have this question, like in case if you're only familiar with the Windows, it's quite challenging to, experience with the Linux. Because as we have already seen, there are a lot of distributions. One question might be in the beginning, which distribution we should use. So recommendation is always go for user friendliness, because that's one of the things what general audience actually look for. And especially focus on the community and the documentation, because whenever you want to do something, you have to have proper documenting. The second one is when you want to get started, how do you install, right? So there are multiple ways that you can do this. Today, I will show you like how may set it up as a virtual operating system in your machine using Oracle VirtualBox. But then you can actually install together with your existing operating system. Now, for example, I'm having Windows operating system. I could, install Linux as my second operating system, which comes with what we call the dual boot system. So dual boot means I have a separate slide on that. I will talk about this separately, where you can see, you can make a choice in the beginning. Second one is you can make it as a virtual machine, which is again quite common nowadays. Instead of single operating system use entire, hardware, we can set up several virtual machines which share your resources. If you are comfortable with just replacing, that is again another way you can install by overwriting existing operating system, but it's up to you. And the other one is use of existing learning resources, especially when you are focused on a particular distribution. My recommendation is go for the default, the documentation. So that is the important thing you may have to consider when you want to start with Linux. Right. Now, you mentioned about the dual boot. Dual boot means like you can install more than one operating system in your machine. So for example, in Windows, we could, in principle, install both Windows 7 and Windows 11. So what happens during, when you start the computer, the very first task is you have to select which one to use. So similar, you will get, this is called grub. What you see in the right-hand side, the figure is grub. Usually when you install Linux together with the Windows environment, the default comes as a grub, which you have to select which one to use. In this small image, you will see several Ubuntu versions and the Windows environment, where you can decide which one to get loaded, right, when you start up. So users can choose which operating system to boot during the startup. The advantages of this technique is, if you're using a dual boot system, you have to select in the beginning which one to be used, and then it has access to the full hardware, which means you will have the improved access and improved performance. But you have to consider very carefully how do you partition your storage, because if you are going to have it like multiple operating systems, you have to have dedicated storage for each of these. So for example, if you have a 500 gigabytes, if you have two operating systems, if you separate out as 250, when you're using a machine, you will only have access to half of the original disk. So remember that, you keep this in mind. And also, like, which bootloader you are going to use. Sometimes you can choose the Windows bootloader, or otherwise you can go for Linux bootloader such as Grub here. Right. Next, why dual boot? There are few cases you can think of when you might use dual boot system. So for example, if you want to test particular software on different operating systems, this is ideal. So you develop software, but if you want to test for multiple operating systems, so you can boot your computer with the required set of software, and then you can test it easily. And then users requiring the full performance of capability of the operating system, so go for a dual boot. And you can also learn and experiment with different operating system without hardware constraints. So all these are considered as positive points on dual boot systems. Now the second one, I told you, like, this is becoming popular nowadays. They are not really going to install separately. Instead of that, you can have an environment where you can have an isolated environment for each operating system, which means you can run DOS, Windows, Mac OS, all in even Linux together without any issue. So what happens during this virtual machine? It will provide an isolated environment for each operating system. So which means on top of your hardware setup, they will have dedicated memory and hard disk to handle operating systems. So if you look at why we should be switching to virtual machine, there are multiple benefits are available. First one, flexibility. Then the second one is testing environments, and third one, snapshots, which means when you create an operating system, and if you make a change, you can change particular status of the operating system, which is called snapshots. So you can save multiple snapshots of same operating system, which is very useful. Right. Again, virtual machine user cases, which is used in software development and testing, running legacy application on outdated operating systems, again, another use. And third, security research and sandboxing. Right. Now that we discussed the basics that we need, let's discuss why do you have to use Linux as a server operating system or as a server. Right, I told you, like, one of the choices, Linux is the one most commonly used on web services. So the choice for this is stability, security, and flexibility. And all the leading tech companies, they use cloud infrastructure. Okay, so if you go into details of what we need to expect from Linux servers, so Linux servers are known for long uptime, some stability, efficient handling of numerous processes and users simultaneously, minimal need for reboots when applying updates or modification. Then if you go for performance, efficient resource management leads to optimal performance, capability of handling high traffic, and data processing tools with the data processing loads with ease, and scalable and adapted to the need of the business, which means you can easily add or remove nodes. Security is one of the prime concerns when it comes to Linux. Strong security model, Linux is prone to malware and viruses. Regular updates and patches for security vulnerabilities, because if something exposed to the outside, they can work on it. And the third one is advanced permission and access control mechanisms. So all these are comes with under the security. Then cost effectiveness, I told you, like majority of these are free and open source software, so you don't have to pay for any license fees or usage of the system. And this will directly affects your overall IT infrastructure, IT cost. Third, large selection of free books, free tools, and applications available. So there are a lot of information available. Then ecosystem and community, vibrant community support and extensive documentation. You can see relevant distribution, and then you can easily find the documentation. Wide range of applications has software-driven Linux, active development of continuous improvement, high contributors worldwide. So which means there are plenty of contributors coming from outside. Okay, let's conclude today's theory session. What we have discussed is Linux offered unparalleled advantage for server environment. I told you this is one quiet case. Its reliable performance, security makes its ideal choice for business. And cost effectiveness and strong community support further enhances that appeal. So these are the things that we need to discuss under operating systems. With that said, we finish our theory part. But before we move on, I want to take at least one or two questions from your end. No questions?
Excuse me, sir.
So now go to the all apps and find whether you have installed Linux virtual box. Sorry, Oracle virtual box. So if you look at VirtualBox installation, should comes like this. What we are trying to do here is, without affecting our existing operating system, we are going to have we are going to install operating system virtually. Right now in my machine, if you look at here, there are 3 operating systems are installed. So for example, the first one is a DOS operating system. There's a Linux desktop operating system, again Ubuntu. And this is Ubuntu server that we are going to install each one of you in your VirtualBox. And as the first assignment, I would like you to try the different distributions that you have discussed within your group, where you try to install those and compare the differences. But let me show you how the system works. Usually, you can actually create a new. In this case, it will be created virtually. There will be a place where we need to allocate the memory and the hard disk space and everything. And then once you do that, we can use a downloaded virtual machine files directly, or you can actually install through a downloaded ISO. So in my case, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to try that. But before I am doing this, just let me show you how this works. Right now, let me start with my Linux. And then under this, if you say start here, which will load the Linux operating system as a separate window. So when I click start, what's happened? It'll open up, or it will initialize operating system in the Windows environment. And then you can see a small window which shows us the Linux environment. So there's a message that I have received. Okay, now it's going to go for full screen mode. So we'll switch it to the full screen mode. And you can see it's loaded. And then ideally, I'm assuming if everything works fine, you can see a small cursor here, which will load my operating system. So it's Ubuntu desktop environment. I have installed with that. So you can see the logo Ubuntu is coming up, which will be the same if you install this in your machine, right? But one problem might be is when you're using virtualization, it might be a little bit overhead for the existing operating system, not like it will not be as fast as if you run it on directly in the computer. Keep this in mind. Right. Usually in operating system, I told you the systems are secured. This is desktop environment. So in desktop environment, usually you have a graphical user interface, but you need to log in. So I'm actually use VBox user. That is the default. So let me enter the password. So hope I will not make any mistakes. Right, you can see this is how it look like. This is the desktop environment. And then you can see, in my case, it will actually show you as a part of the desktop. So you can see here how they have, everything put together. So we have a browser here, email client is here, and then even you can actually click here to, applications, and then you have a lot of other applications are also here, right? So for example, if you want the browser, if you just click it, you can notice that the browser will get loaded, and you can use it same as in Windows as well, right? Although I am actually sharing how you can install Linux, the similar procedure you can actually use for it. Have several Windows version. It's possible. So keep this in mind. Right. So having said that, let me close this. And I think I will give you that part just to play around. In the graphical user interface, I will let you to do that. But for the time being, I would like to go back and load a Linux environment. So we can, yes, with that, we can, so if you want to just close it down, you can shut down through this, or you can actually shut down. Okay, so we have power off and log off. I can say power off, which will shut down the machine. So when you shut down it, you will go back to the previous screen. Right. So once you have virtual drives like this, you can easily open up. You click on that, you say start, and you can play around, then you can come back. Not only that, you can start different versions of this. Let's say once you load up, you did something, if you want to save, so you can say clone, which actually could clone this, right? Remember that too. The next one, I'm going to show you my plan for today is Ubuntu server installation. So let me start running the operating system. It might take first time. Okay, I'm going to say switch. Although I use VirtualBox for this, you can use VMware or any other virtualization software. So there's a question whether you can use Windows Hyper-V Manager. Of course, it's totally up to you. The idea is you play around with the different operating system software, as well as you understand what is going on behind, plus setting up, servers. So those are the topics that we will cover. So as far as you are comfortable doing that, I don't mind which virtualization software you are going to use. So which virtualization techniques you are going to use, that's okay. Right. As you can see, in server version, one of the differences you might notice is you don't get the graphical user interface by default. This is because security is one of the prime concerns. So I want to type the usernames and passwords. What was the username I have given to you? Okay, now the use admin. Pretty sure whether this is the one I actually used. Okay, no. Let me check whether I have written down somewhere, or else we'll start from beginning. Yeah, there's another question whether you want to install using WSL. Perfectly all right, as far as you understand what happens there. The idea is you have a Linux environment where you are comfortable with play around. Because the next thing that I'm going to discuss is command line tools getting used to create bash scripts. As far as you are comfortable with that part, so it's perfectly all right. Okay, so having said that, let me go from the beginning, because I also don't remember exactly what username password I have actually put. Password I remember. I have written somewhere, but I think since you are also downloaded VirtualBox, can you let me know like how many of you have already installed VirtualBox and you are ready to proceed with me?
So, excuse me, sir.
Yes.
While installing the VirtualBox, it asks something Python version or something to install, but or otherwise continue. It said if not, you should configure later, something like that. Without that one, I have.
Go with the default one. Usually, the right now also we are going to with the default configuration. So select the default one. Maybe you can skip that for the moment. Yes. Do you want me to show the VirtualBox installation as well? If anyone's need it, like just let me know in the chat. I can start from the beginning. Right. So having said that, let's power off this machine, and maybe I will show you the simple use of installation. By following the same procedure, you can also install any other Windows or Linux as a virtual machine. So the first step is we are going to start new, because we are going to start from the very beginning to have Ubuntu server installation. So therefore, we will start. So I'm going to select machine. You can say new, or you can say add. But in this particular case, I'm going to use ISO image, meaning for ISO is usually when we use CD or a DVD, Usually we will use ISO format to get the image. ISO image can be used to burn it to a CD or DVD. So right now what we did, we have downloaded Ubuntu Server ISO. And we are going to use this to create the server environment, right, as virtually in my machine. So the first is like I want to select what I'm interested in. So I'm going to click this and then I will say other. And then I'm going to go to my folders just to find ISO file. And if you look at, I have downloaded the latest version, Ubuntu 2020.04, 64-bit version. And then I will say open. Most of the cases, we can go with the default configurations. So I'm going to say Ubuntu server. I'm going to say 0. Why I put 0? Especially, you can have multiple instances of the same virtual machine. This is useful, especially when you are testing something. If something goes wrong, we are not going to change anything from the original installation. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to start saying that this is Ubuntu Server 0, which I'm going to use it. But whenever I need to change something, I'm going to duplicate this. So by doing so, we can safely work on, when we are working or testing new operating systems. So once I do this, I hope everybody is comfortable. Then I will click next, which is the best one. Now, we can go for different host names and then domain names. I'm not going to change anything here. The default username and password for this is VBox user, and it says change me. So which I'm going to keep it as it is. And then I will click next, but make sure that you record this one. Otherwise, after some time, what might happen, you might forget this, right? So the default is VBox user, and you can give anything that you want. But right now we have a change P. I will go to next.
Sir, I
Yes.
have some problem. It's not so the next button. It shows there was a mark at the host name, Ubuntu server.
Okay. I'll come to your case. Maybe once I finish, I will go through in yours while you presenting your case. We'll try that way, right?
Ah.
Or the best way would be like you go with the default allocations. So right now, I'm not going to change in hardware as well. So the base memory is recorded default value, that is 2 GB, as well as we are using a single processor. Usually in the documentation says that at least you have to have 2, but I'm not going to change anything because this is our first time. I want to try out with the default values. Here, I'm not going to change anything again. I'm going to create a virtual disk right now, and then I'm allocating 25 gigabytes. I'm not going to change. What happens is it will create a separate file, which I later can be shared with anyone else so that they can also have the same. So, so I'm going to use the default one here as well. So I'll go to the next one. Now you can just check whether everything is okay. Looks okay. So we have hardware machine name. I said Ubuntu Server 0. right? And then yes, username is VBox user I have used. I didn't change the original version. And then, okay, let me click finish. Now, when we say click finish, now you can see there will be another tab added here, which is, right? You can see it's here, which takes some time to powering up. You might see some message comes down here, and you can see it's running down, and then some previews are here. So let's see what is going on. And if you want to see, you can click this arrow to show what is happening. And then maybe I can go to screen mode. So it's actually automatically installing the operating system. This process might take some time, depending on your speed of your computer. But remember that some places we should not update. So sometimes it's try to update existing software while connected to the internet. Usually I'm trying to skip that part. Other than that, what I did basically, I have used existing or default, I have selected default choices. Okay, those who have finished this part, can you please raise your hands up to this point? Those who have came up to this point. Right. Right now, we need to select the language. I'm going to select English. Press enter. Again, I'm not going to choose anything. First one, we have to select the language. Keyboard configuration automatically detected. So I'm going to select done. Just by enter. I press enter. And then it's also the default one. Already it is selected as default for server environment. So Ubuntu service, the one is selected. Again, I'm going to select done. Again, done. There's no proxies we are going to configure. Mirrors also not needed. We can say cancel. Okay, we can say continue. Continue without updating because we'll try first. Use entire disk is what we are going to use. Again, click done. Select done. Okay. Looks good, everything. I will say done. Okay, we'll say okay. Right. Now here we have to set up few ones. The earlier previous username and password usually prompt in graphical user interface. But here usually we have to provide username and password. So we need to create a username and password here. So I will use my name as Sampath. Server name. This is you need this when other computers wants to contact your computer. So we will say, okay, Ubuntu server. I will put 0, right? This is my name. I will put somebody. Username, I will put Sampath. And then I'll put a password. Right. If you're done up to this one, I'm going to press done. I'm going to skip upgrade to Ubuntu Pro. So I'm going to skip that one. That is the default again. I will say continue. Okay, you can install it here. But yeah, press space bar. Okay, maybe we'll remove for the time. We'll go without installing this. We'll say done. Again, we'll say we are not going to install any other packages. We'll say done. Okay. I think I have set up everything with the default installation. A few things that I have input. The language is the first one. The second one is the keyboard layout. We skip all the proxy and as well as mirror settings. And then we provide other information and then user login details we have given. So username I have given as Sampath. And then I have provided a password. Right. Now, it will take some time to install, get installed this into your system. Right. If you have finished up to this point, please raise your hands because I want to know how many of you have finished up to this point. And then we'll basically look at how to full screen also. I want to get it. Hopefully I can get it to full screen. So I'm coming down here. I'm selecting reboot now. So now you can see it's restarted. So I need to log in. So remember the usernames that we have done. So I will put down
The installation stopped in this point, sir. Still, it is take long time.
okay, will no installation is done, but I think I have
But-
to log into the system. Okay, so the right now I have to type my login, which is Sampath, and then the password. Okay. I put Sampath.
This is the issue, sir. I already told that while I entering the password, it's not coming.
No, I mean, it's okay. In my case, it works. The second time we put a password, not the first one, not the VBox use.
Okay.
So you have
Okay,
to
sir.
put,
Now it's okay. Now it's
Yeah.
okay, sir.
yeah. So if you come up to this point, basically we are clear out, meaning like we have successfully installed Ubuntu server in the VirtualBox. So you can see what I did so far is using Oracle VM VirtualBox Manager. I installed Ubuntu server, link I have given to you in the WhatsApp group. And then, so how I started by creating a new and then giving the ISO file and following all the default configurations. Right now, whenever you want to start anything, what normally you do, you click on a particular machine from here, and then you just click start, right? You click start, and it should, load the selected operating system. Although we said server configuration and the desktop, there's no much difference of because it's Ubuntu anyway. There was a concern like which version you have selected. But when I say server, there are slightly different installation, and then the focus will be different. So that's usually the case. So ideally for the next week's session, we'll be working on several commands, working as a super user, installations, as well as we are going to talk about several commonly used command line tools and writing bash scripts, because we can automate most of the stuff. So that's what my plan for next week. Right. Okay, one more thing before